Do you remember that time when we went back into ancient Rome?
Yeah, and saw the gladiatorial games and learned about ancient Roman government.
You know, the leaders were actually pretty screwed up, even though they could govern pretty well.
Yeah.
Did you know some gladiatorial games last for hundreds of days? Gladiatorial games largely influenced modern-day sports, which proves Rome's existence in the modern world. Gladiatorial games first began as a religious ceremony by the Etruscans, which they used to honor generals or leaders who had died by pitting members of their army against each other till the death. Brutus Para then adopted this idea and used it at his father's funeral, which eventually led to the first organized gladiatorial games in 264 BC. Julius Caesar played a large role in the development of these games. He made them very extravagant, which brought him much popularity with citizens of Rome and eventually success as a politician. Augustus also played a large role in the development of these games. He limited those who could sponsor them from rich families to generals or leaders, and he also limited the shows to 2 per year. The Senate also played a large role in these games. After the slave revolt of Spartacus in 73 BC, they assumed greater control. The decline of the Roman gladiatorial games began with the rise of Christianity. As Christianity became the dominant religion of Rome, they became less and less popular and accepted. Eventually, by the end of the 4th century, the decline of the Roman gladiatorial games began with the rise of Christianity. As Christianity became the dominant religion of Rome, these games became less and less popular and accepted. By the end of the 4th century, all the Roman gladiatorial schools were closed and the last fights took place. Gladiators lived very different lives from normal citizens of Rome. They were usually slaves who committed a crime or seemed to be good fighters, or criminals who were, as a punishment, condemned to be gladiators. Rarely, free men volunteered themselves to win money and fame. Gladiators trained in schools, such as one in Alexandria, which was known for its high standards and excellence. In bad gladiatorial schools, the men were treated badly, and suicide was very common. The training was very extreme. They were kept on extreme diets and trained daily. Originally, they fought with their own weapons techniques, but this eventually changed till they went through basic training and then specialized in different fighting techniques. Gladiators were both glorified and looked down upon. Successful gladiators were treated like celebrities, and unsuccessful gladiators were treated like low-life, worthless people. Gladiators had more freedom than you might think. They were free to roam around the town and even marry and raise children. Gladiators won many different prizes and faced many different debts. Some of the prizes, if a gladiator won, were money and the palm of victory. If a gladiator fought extremely well, he could be given freedom. He was given a wooden sword called the rudis to symbolize his freedom. Although they could win freedom, they could not win citizenship. Gladiatorial games ended in many different ways, but gladiators rarely fought to the death because they considered it an honor to win without killing their opponent. Suicide was very common, and some gladiators fled before the game started, and if they did this, they had their throats slit. Mercy was the large way gladiatorial games ended. If the gladiator was injured and downed, he could ask for mercy, where the emperor and crowd would decide if he lived or died. A draw could happen if both gladiators fought extremely well. If this happened, they would fight again another day. Or one man could kill another. Gladiator events were very large events. They had more than just gladiators fighting. There was also animal hunts where rare animals like tigers and elephants were put into the arena and hunters were sent out to hunt them. Or executions took place during intermission of criminals and of Christians. Naval battles were also held where gladiators dressed up as Greek and Persian soldiers and reenacted famous battles. There were refs there who kept records of all the games and kept things in order. In conclusion, gladiatorial games largely influence sports today. Stadiums, modern-day stadiums, are very closely modeled after the Colosseum, and gladiatorial games were very violent, just like a lot of modern-day sports such as football and rugby, which are very popular. Specialized training that gladiators went through is also very similar to what athletes do today, where they specialize in different positions.
Did you know that many of the Roman emperors were eccentric, and many of the laws were extreme for their time and ours? The leaders of Rome had great power of persuasion and conveying different ideas that they wanted to be conveyed, such as Augustus or Octavian. Octavian was his real name, although Augustus was given to him, and it means exalted one. By 30 BC, he had killed all of his enemies, and when he died, the throne was passed to his son Tiberius. Now, Tiberius was a great ruler, but he was very explicit about the Senate's role. And after he died, only emperors ruled Rome for the next 400 years. The Romans also used coins to govern and persuade and convey different ideas. Take Antony, for example, one of the great rulers of Rome. He issued a coin that had an eagle on it. Now, the Romans thought of the eagle as power and strength and toughness, which not only made the people inside of Rome feel strong and feel powerful, but it made everyone outside of Rome not want to really take them on and fight them. Because not only did the people inside Rome have the idea that they were strong, they also had hope that they were strong. Also, they had coins with navy battles and army battles to show how tough their army and navy were. Now, the emperors also advertised on the coins by having their silhouette, the side of their face, on the coin, which not only advertised for them, it also stimulated the economy at the same time. Now, Rome has influenced Europe, America, almost the whole world, because most of the world uses written laws. Rome had the first written laws called the 12 Tables. They've also given us the civil service, which is the officials of the government being paid to do their job. They also had tribunes, which protected the poor and made sure that they weren't being used and make sure that they had rights. But most of the time they balanced each other out. There were limitations in government. Not always good, not always bad, but one of them being the veto. The veto was used by senators to make sure that one person didn't get too much power. Also, they allowed laws to be changed if they were not useful, if they were pointless, and if they weren't really relevant. There are also radical changes within the government, such as when Spartacus led the revolt against the rich by the poor and the gladiators in 73 AD. Also, when Augustus glorified Rome and stabilized a republic, those were big marking points in the Roman time. There were also advancements under the law, such as everyone was treated equally under the law, you were punished for actions, not thoughts, and you were innocent until proven guilty. Although the 12 Tables helped many people and gave power to many people and equality to many people, they also gave too much power into unresponsible hands. Whereas in a household, the father was complete power. He could whip, imprison, or sell any of his kids. And also, under the 12 Tables, you could get the death punishment for as little crimes as theft of crops or as different crimes as bribery. In conclusion, because of the Roman law and government, Rome was able to sustain power, peace, and strength for hundreds and hundreds of years.